That's the narco. Fox News alert, it is Judgment Day. Sources say Maduro's been praying to Jesus. That's the narco-terrorist, socialist dictator who took over for Hugo Chavez in Venezuela and keeps flooding American streets with migrants, gangs, and cocaine.
And shout out to my man Parabolic Curvature. What was the Trump pullout plan after he gave the date for the pullout of Afghanistan? Look. The problem is that was up to Biden. It happened under Biden. Biden said he can do it better than Trump, and he failed. And report shows that Trump actually called off the plan once they said, oh, yeah, once we back out of there, the Taliban just going to take over. Trump called it off. Biden said, no, we about to put it into a go. So you can't even really blame Trump, because even Trump realized it was a bad plan. Even though he said it, he realized it was a bad plan. He had to keep him in there. And he said, oh, well, we want to slow leak him out. And I'm not even sure if that was going to work, but it was a better plan than what Biden implemented. Maybe Biden should just, kind of waited off on that.
11 U.S. warships, including our largest carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, are now in the Caribbean. Venezuela is surrounded. The strike group is waiting on orders from the commander-in-chief as the president's holding high-level meetings at the White House, calculating our next move against the narco state. The choice is Maduro's. Trump's giving him an ultimatum: abdicate power or else. After Trump's phone call with the dictator, that's the best offer.
The New York Times reported that you had a phone call with Maduro. Did you?
I don't want to comment on it. The answer is yes.
And can you tell us a little bit
No,
about
I can't
it?
do that.
Mr. President, would you say it went well?
I wouldn't say it went well or badly. It was a phone call.
This time, it wasn't a perfect phone call. The Venezuelan strongman reportedly asked for global amnesty. And Trump said, how about no? Then he said, what if I hold free and fair elections? Trump said, no, you already did that and you lost. Then he asked, if I step down, can I still control the military? 47 said, pack your bags. Even with a $50 million bounty on his head, Maduro.
And I've been hearing the same reports all over, that Maduro's been throwing everything at Trump, trying to offer everything. He just either wants to stay in power or, not be killed. But he's really trying to stay in power. It doesn't seem like the Trump administration is letting that stand. More than less is because the other leader is probably going to actually play with the Trump administration a bit better, let them have access to the oil. Well, they're going to. Now, this is a bit out there, actually not a bit out there, but it has been proven that they would recognize Israel and all that good stuff, and they would be damn near, it's almost going to be like an Abraham Accords, except with the Latin America countries, as long as they accept Israel. And that's pretty much what it is, because, they're not really feeling too kindly about Venezuela working with Iran. So to shift away from Iran and turns towards America would be a very good start. Does it benefit us? Yes. Is it possibly starting problems in Latin America? For sure. Could it get out of control? Oh, most definitely. But we're not. But let's hope for the best. Or let's just hope that the man just runs off into the sunset. We never hear from him again. The lady comes in power and we just get everything we want, without having to go to war with Venezuela.
Rose maintained an iron grip on power by bribing his cronies with kickbacks from the coke, oil, and gold rackets. But this time, the narcos aren't calling shots anymore. Uncle Sam is, a.k.a. Trump. And the president's tightening the noose. In the last 24 hours, Trump declared the airspace above Venezuela entirely closed. Closing airspace can only mean one thing. This is escalating, and it's escalating quickly. The commander-in-chief isn't going to ratchet up the pressure, then walk away without a win. There's no way Maduro can face down the full force of a U.S. carrier strike group. The president is keeping his options open.
What's the position on whether U.S. troops on the ground is a possibility there? I know you've answered that before, but what's the current operative
in Venezuela?
I think my previous
answer stands. There's many options at the president's disposal that are on the table.
Maduro's a sitting duck, and word on the street is he'll be out of.
Yeah, but if Maduro actually has the military behind him, it's not going to be easy. We're not just going to be able to strike these guys willy-nilly and just take out Maduro and think that the military is just going to roll over. And then whoever we do put in power, well, they're going to be set up to get, backstabbed because I'm gonna be real with you, regime change never works, and the people not gonna like it because they're not gonna feel like they really had a choice. If we just forced that lady in there. Yes, she won the election, but I'm gonna be honest with you, just to force her in there might build distrust among the citizens. Like, just to be honest. And I know what you're saying. So we're just gonna let him steal the election set. Well, hey man, I did say we need to step out of foreign intervention. Like, so hey, it is what it is. It's their problem. Let them figure it out.
Power before Christmas. No one's bailing the socialist out. He's getting no love from his sponsors in Beijing and Moscow. Putin and Xi Jinping are at the table with Trump doing much bigger trade and diplomatic deals. They're not going to throw Maduro a lifeline and jeopardize the deals over a small fry in our backyard. And we're doing the Europeans a big favor. Venezuelan gangs have been trafficking boatloads of coke to West Africa, and the Africans have been pouring it into France and Germany. Maduro's isolated. According to UN investigators, he's guilty of crimes against humanity, torture, murder, sexual violence. He only got 20% of the vote last year, stole the election, and wouldn't leave. And he's unleashed migrants, gangs, and poison onto our shores. Chuck Schumer's backed military action in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Yemen, and Ukraine. Schumer's basically down for whatever, whenever, no questions asked. But now that Trump's the president, he has questions.
Man.
Americans are right to wonder, what on earth is Donald Trump planning in Venezuela? Is Donald Trump nudging America into another war? Is he seeking regime change for Maduro? Will he put U.S. troops in harm's way? Nobody knows.
There's no way Trump's telling Schumer anything. Might as well tell Maduro. Schumer's old enough to know the war on drugs has been a 4-decade failure. And he knows that Trump didn't storm back into the White House just to repeat the failures of past presidents. The Secretary of the Navy gets it.
Drugs kill more Americans than we've ever lost in wars. So I think at the end of the day, the president has correctly identified this as an attack on the country, which it is.
The narco traffickers are on deliver or die missions. They're ferrying cargo through the Pacific and the Gulf of America. Some of these speedboats are...
Now, what are they? Suicide bombers with bricks of cocaine, basically? Because, I mean, somebody did bring this up, and I mean, it was a reasonable question. I mean, like, so if they know they're just gonna, just ship these boats out here and they're just gonna put millions of dollars of product on there just get blown up, like, why would they keep doing this? Like, well, don't they know that they're just gonna get blown up unless they're just doing this for funsies and they're just like using it as a form of execution? Or I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's suicide delivery. Like, why? Like a new form of terror of suicide bombing is like you deliver it or die.
40 feet long and carry $70 million of contraband. Taking out these boats hit the cartels where it hurts, their bank accounts.
But I mean, let's be honest though, the way the cartel makes cocaine and all that good stuff, trust me, they do it for cheap. Like, they do all this stuff for cheap. So what's millions of dollars of product was probably just a manufacturing cost, maybe like a couple hundred to them, and a little bit of slave labor.
And forcing out Maduro sends a powerful signal to the Colombians, the Mexicans, and the Chinese. The Monroe Doctrine's back, and American deterrence is back. Venezuela is a launching pad for coke, and they're getting squeezed. The CIA is already on the ground there and have been authorized to give the president options. Operation Southern Spear is designed to defend the American homeland from drug warfare. And guess who has a problem with that?
If you want to understand if those are drug boats, who would go on those boats, it's people who have families that have been kidnapped. And they're told, go on the boats or we will execute your children.
I mean, bleeding heart argument, my G, but I mean, yeah, that could be one reason too, though, but you got to prove that. Just like you can't prove that, we can't even prove these are actually narcos. Or, I mean, the only people that do know is the CIA and the military. Those are the only two people that actually know what's going on. You don't know if that's a story, and I don't know. So I don't even know why you're over there trying to throw out that Academy Award-winning story right there, because I ain't gonna lie. That's like, hey, that's a tearjerker. You should make it a movie, my friend.
Where's he getting this from? Coke boats aren't being driven by hostages. The Wall Street Journal reports each boat is manned by 3 to 4 well-paid professionals: a pilot, a mechanic, a navigator, and a voucher man, someone who's trusted by the buyer and the seller. Now, someone's trying to sabotage U.S. operations, and the saboteurs are coming from within our own country. Over the weekend, the Washington Post accused the Secretary of War of committing war crimes. Hegseth order on first Caribbean boat strike, officials say, kill them all. The story goes something like this. U.S. Southern Command launched an airstrike against a Coke boat. They saw that there were survivors and launched a second strike. So there were none. Pete calls it fake news. Quote, our current operations in the Caribbean are lawful under both U.S. and international law, with all actions in compliance with the law of armed conflict, and approved by the best military and civilian lawyers up and down the chain of command. Here's the White House.
Does the administration deny that that second strike happened, or did it happen and the administration denies that Secretary Hegseth gave the order?
Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law.
Lethal operations like this go through layers of lawyers.
I mean, it's funny how the spin is right now. So, of course, on the right, we're spinning it as, oh, these are just narco terrorists and all this. They're just the worst of the worst. And, of course, the Dems, humanizing them a little bit, going like, no, they could be captured civilians and they're getting held at gunpoint. Now they're forced to go out there. You're just blowing them up. You blew up a father. And, oh, my God, I can't believe it. And it's, such a sad story and all that good stuff. But we don't know. So, I mean, calm all that down.
From the War Department, state, national security, everything goes up and down the chain of command and gets signed off on because we value life in America. The United States has conducted strikes all over the globe like this for decades. But for some reason, when President Trump does it, it's a crime.
I mean, but you got to admit, though, it's a very sad story. I mean, it pulls at your heartstrings, does it not? And shout out to Parabolic Curvature. He said the Doha was agreed to by Trump, and the earliest I could find for Trump official distancing from it is after May 2021. Biden was still dumb for trying. I mean, yeah. Hey, man. Hey, the road to evil is paved with good intentions, is it not? And shout out to my man Maine. Hey, happy to see you. He says, can't fish from a submarine. Changed my mind. No, literally, no. They said they were fishermen. It's like, I don't know. You sure about that? Like fishermen fishing with bricks of cocaine? Like what? Was the cocaine the bait? I mean, what? Were they planning on fishing and then dropping off the cocaine? Like either way, there was cocaine on the boat.
What law is it that allows no survivors?
The strike conducted on September 2nd was conducted in self-defense to protect Americans in vital United States interests. The strike was conducted in international waters and in accordance with the law of armed conflict.
When Barack Obama authorized lethal strikes against ISIS during the war on terror, and our operators launched a missile at a convoy of ISIS fighters, and the missile hit, boom, everyone's dead. Wait.
And what you guys got to understand is that, I don't know, a lot of people, they're not getting like down with the idea, or not even down with it, but you got to get down with the idea that Trump has designated these guys as a terrorist group. So now we can strike them at will. I mean, as long as we confirm that they are actually terrorists. I mean, let's be real. We've been doing this for a while. And you're right. When we do this type of stuff, sometimes innocent civilians do get caught up. I mean, if we want to like low key bring up the guy who shot the 2 National Guardsmen, he was kind of going along with something like that, striking terrorist groups or the Taliban, and ended up actually killing innocent civilians sometimes. I mean, hey, this could be one of those situations, but we won't know until all the information come out. I'm not sitting there saying it's impossible for this to happen, but let's just wait for all the facts.
The smoke clears. You see one guy still hanging off the back of a Humvee, trying to get away. You double tap, boom, you finish the job. You're not going to send American men in to grab the surviving terrorist, put him in handcuffs, and take him to our base and give him a dinner and a doctor.
I mean,
this is no different. These cartel traffickers.
Now, like I said, the argument is that when they blew them up and the survivors were there, they were non-lethal combatants. And it's a war crime to pretty much kill non-lethal combatants. But here's the thing, is like, we're not really at war with Venezuela. I mean, we're kind of going after the cartel. We're targeting them as a terrorist group. So it kind of is what it is. Like, here's the thing. I guess we're kind of like mixing up things or amalgamating things or amalgamating certain situations with this one, because like, let's be real. Remember, terrorist organization, like they're allowed to get struck. Let's think about the Houthis and what happened with Yemen. And I mean, bro, civilians was killed in that too. They bombed the whole apartment building just to take out like a couple members. So we got to remember how we act towards terrorists. Like we kill them and damn near everybody around them. And do I agree with that? Not at all. But this is what the Trump administration has. Well, this is what the plan is. Designate them as terrorist organizations so we can treat them as such.
Have been designated as foreign terrorists. We're blowing up terrorists in the Caribbean, but we're supposed to rescue them from drowning if they survive?
I mean, it'd be nice.
Now, I don't know what happened with this strike, but Senator Van Hollen, who never met a Latin gangbanger that he didn't like, has a new hoax.
New hoax alert. New hoax alert. New hoax alert.
Yeah, I love him.
I think it's very possible there was a war crime committed. Of course, for it to be a war crime, you have to accept the Trump administration's whole construct here,
That we're at war.
which is we're in armed conflict at war with this particular, with the drug gangs. Of course, they've never presented the public with the information they've got here, but it could be worse than that, right? If that theory is wrong, then it's plain murder.
Barbaric cartels are injecting billions of dollars of narcotics into our country, causing death and violence and addiction. That's not a war crime, but stopping them is a war crime. Now we know what the Seditious Six video was setting up.
Do you believe if there was a second strike to eliminate any survivors, that that constitutes a war crime?
It seems to. If what has been reported is accurate, I've got serious concerns about anybody in that chain of command stepping over a line that they should never step over.
It makes sense, doesn't it? Kelly and his crew were telling soldiers to disobey their superiors to hit coke boats. Next time the Secretary of War orders a coke boat blown, we could see soldiers mutiny.
I mean, it was talk about unlawful orders in that video without stating what unlawful order our troops should be looking out for. And then you're pretty much telling them to disobey their commander, or well, I would say the higher ups or those who are above them. Yeah, that's insubordination. Actually, you're trying to incite them. You're inciting insubordination and basically mutiny. And trust me, there are some orders that they don't have time to sit there and just scratch their heads about. So yeah, I can't be doing that.
Democrats are.
If you have a problem, talk to the leadership. Talk to HECSEF. You can't get through to HECSEF. I mean, cry about it to somebody else.
Telling soldiers to mutiny.
Just say simply, I'm not going to do that. That's against the law.
It puts a lot of burden on the troops to make a decision in real time. But
a reasonable person can tell something that is legal and something that is illegal.
So would you refuse these specific orders to strike drug boats if you were still in uniform?
Well,
No, I get that one.
the difference between the initial strike.
Shout out to my man Parabolic Curvatry. He's like, not like Trump cares about international law for armed conflicts. Well, yeah, for armed conflict, but its states take all feasible precaution to avoid or minimize incidental harm. Well, let me see here. Let's see. Well, I'll say this. I think Biden read the ground game wrong, or what was going on the ground wrong, and that's what pretty much led to it. Or whoever came in just said, look, F whatever Donald Trump was talking about. Nah, he was just being a coward, and he's a liar. It was off TDS. I'm just joking, by the way. And they said, F, we just gonna try it. But in all actuality, I just think they got the ground game wrong. Like what was going on the ground was way different than what was going on in their head.
And what is being reported, as a second.
And I ain't gonna lie, somebody should have told him that, like, if we pull out, the Taliban just gonna take over. We're still fighting them right now. It's not like we push them back, but we ain't like take them out. I don't know why nobody told him that.
Strike. And those things are different. I think this administration has tied themselves in knots.
Well, the ladies of The View, who I know have never done cocaine, ever, says not only is Hegseth a war criminal, but all the rank and file should go on trial.
Wow.
The person who gave the order can be held accountable and put in prison. The people that conducted the orders, that pulled the trigger, are also responsible and can be held accountable. So now you have people that are serving their countries, that are serving this country as patriots, perhaps following an illegal order, and then themselves can be court-martialed.
I don't think American servicemen and women participating in Operation Southern Spear are watching The View, but word's getting out that following orders in Latin America could land you in Leavenworth. Senators are telling soldiers to use the N-word.
Huh?
You mentioned that you were a captain in the Navy. If
I
you
know.
received that order, would you have carried it out?
No.
Trump says no one's getting punished
Oh.
except the people interfering with
You'd
military
ignored your bro. Stop lying, bro. You would not have ignored your higher ups. You knew what it came with that. You better be able to substantiate that on the spot. You better, or it's gonna be a problem for you. So I don't know if he actually meant that. He's kind of talking outside of the position, or like I say, from the bleachers.
operations. Quote, there are laws that affect our nation. Read Title 18, Chapter 115, Section 2387. Whoever with the intent to interfere, impair, influence the loyalty, morale, or discipline of the military and naval forces will be fined or imprisoned up to 10 years. So where do these people even get off? The Biden administration, after Abbey Gate, executed 10 Afghans with a Reaper drone and called it a righteous strike.
All right, and shout out to my man Daniel Castro, because he said we need to remind you on what the National Emergency Act is. And it is a United States federal law enacted to end all previous national emergencies and to formalize the emergency powers to the president. So let's see here. The law established procedures for presidents to declare national emergencies and requires them to specify the statutory powers they intend to use. It also terminates existing emergencies and mandates that the president reports expenditures for each declared emergency and allows Congress to terminate an emergency using expedited procedures. Oh, wow. So basically, I mean, yeah, Trump's pretty much working well within his power.
48 hours later, oops, it was an innocent family. I guess it's not a
Barely,
war crime
though.
if it's an accident.
Maybe.
Bombs Away Barry dropped over 20,000 bombs on 7 countries in 2016. Killed thousands of people. Not all of them were terrorists. There was a lot of collateral damage. Was anyone court-martialed? What we're witnessing now is a setup. The Washington Post leaks a story about a double-tap strike, and the seditious six comes out and calls it a war crime.
Yep.
A week after their video told soldiers to disobey orders. It's so obvious, The View sees it.
Well, I know this is why those Democratic vets put out that video last week that people said, why would they need to say what's already obvious? The likelihood of this is it's not a war. We're not at war with Venezuela, but it's murder. It's flat out murder. And anyone that acted on those orders could be held on war crimes.
They've been foaming the runway for a while. CIA Slotkin, who's running point for this domestic propaganda operation, said last month, Trump, not Maduro, is the real dictator.
He seems to be laying the groundwork to stay in power. There are 2 ways this can happen. Both straight out of the same.
I'm sorry. I don't believe the ex-CIA lady who, probably was running color revolutions back in her day. I'm sorry, but I don't trust you because, yes, you used to work for the CIA. I mean, 2, I'm pretty sure you was popping off color revolutions. And 3, of course, you try to pop one off against the president. I mean, you're damn near filling out all the markers. I mean, there's a list. Well, I would say this. You're kind of abiding by all the tendencies of a color revolution. I'm not sure why they're going for this. Oh, yes, I know why. Because they can't win in the courts. They don't see themselves winning any more elections, so they just want to flip the chessboard. Which, and like my man Chase said, the chessboard is America.
Authoritarian playbook. The
Tough.
first, a scenario in which Trump finds a pretext, invokes the Insurrection Act, and tries to impose martial law. Elections, therefore, could be canceled.
Isn't it funny that the CIA-backed seditious six doesn't want a real war on drugs? They want us to do the same thing that hasn't worked for decades. Well, maybe it has worked for the CIA. The CIA reportedly uses the war on drugs, cartels, Latin American paramilitary groups as black ops, off-the-book operations to run money and weapons and rig elections.
Yep.
That's been widely reported. Now the military's leaking classified intelligence about airstrikes in the Caribbean? Seems like there's factions of the government that do not want Trump to be successful in Latin America. Isn't it weird that they have no issues fighting wars in Europe and bombing countries in the Middle East, but when it's in our own backyard and it's something that directly affects the American people, then they have a problem?
The United States is under attack from organized criminal narco-terrorists in our hemisphere, and the president is responding in the defense of our country. I do find it interesting that all these countries want us to send, and supply, for example, nuclear-capable Tomahawk missiles to defend Europe. But when the United States positions aircraft carriers in our hemisphere where we live, somehow that's a problem.
Wondering more Fox News on YouTube.
That is hilarious. It's like, oh, so you want us to go ahead and help you guys out with y'all little BS war with Ukraine and Russia, but but when we do something, you pull out on us. All right, say less. Yeah, I mean, come on now. We kind of knew that the Europe